What's up, guys? Colin right here, and today I just wanted to talk about the question I sent over to Josh Pate this week for his late kick extra pod that he talked about a little bit on that episode on Tuesday. So, the question was, would you rather win your conference championship to get a first round bye, or not win your conference championship and have a home playoff game? At first glance, you would say first round bye, no doubt, right? However, in the scenario that Josh painted today, let's take Ohio State as the number one overall seed. They could get that first round bye, and then for their first matchup, they play the winner of 8 versus 9, which could very well be Oregon and Texas, 8 and 9. The winner of that would meet Ohio State at a neutral site for Ohio State's first game. On the flip side of that, you could have a team like Alabama sitting there at the 5 seed. They would play the 12 seed in the first round, which is very likely Liberty, who will have not played a Power 4 team all year. There's a very little chance of them coming in and upsetting Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then Alabama would move on to play the number 4 seed, which could very well be Big 12 champion Oklahoma State. I think we can pretty much all say in confidence that the number 3 and number 4 is going to be some combination of the ACC and Big 12 champ. In what order, up for debate, we won't really know until the last week of the season. With that being said, I would personally rather have the 5th through 8th seed and have that home playoff game, and here's why. The reason why is at the time that first round bye team, or any of those 4 first round bye teams, will play their first playoff game, they will have 3.5 weeks off from the end of the conference championship weekend to that second round start for the playoffs. That's enough time for you to get a little bit rusty, to get a little bit cold, to kind of get out of it a little bit. Whereas you got a team like the Alabama 5 seed that we mentioned, or the 6, 7, or 8, that has a home playoff game, has a chance to experience that, to gain that momentum, to come up with a big win in the first round at home, knock that rust off of their shoulders because they're playing the bottom third of the playoff seeding. So that just tells you that traditionally, in most cases, the bottom third is probably going to be the lesser third of all thirds in this scenario, right? So you get a chance to be at home, get back into the groove of things after a couple weeks off, knock the rust off, like I said, and then go on and play one of those conference champions in a neutral site. Also, those 5, 6, 7, 8 teams have more time to prepare for a specific opponent, whereas a team like Ohio State, sitting there in that number 1, okay, are they going to play Oregon or Texas? Well, they could very well have played Oregon twice already, so that's a bad example. Let's say, could they be playing Ole Miss or Notre Dame? Say that's the 8 and 9 matchup. Ole Miss and Notre Dame have 2 very different offenses. They have very different defenses, very different strategies as a whole. So Ohio State's, they know that they're going to be playing one of those 2 teams for that matchup. However, it's not going to be decided until a week before. Okay, which we've kind of bounced around from 2 different game plans of what we're going to do, how we're going to defend this team, how we're going to attack this team. What are they going to throw at us? Well, now you've got a week to say, okay, this is who we're playing, this is what we need to focus on. Whereas a team like Alabama, once again, if they're in that 5 seed, they know they play Oklahoma State after they surely take care of Liberty, so they can focus on Liberty. Yeah, does Alabama need 2-3 weeks to prepare for Liberty? I don't think so. So they can go ahead and say, okay, we know we're going to get past Liberty. Now we've got to just let's go ahead and jump the gun a little bit and start focusing on how we're going to slow down Ollie Gordon and that Oklahoma State rushing attack. So with that being said, I'm taking the home playoff personally. I like having that chance to kind of knock the rust off, get going, get some momentum, get that crowd behind me in the home playoff game, and get ready for that second round matchup. Another thing I wanted to bring attention to is the possible dream scenario that's not possible for really any Big 12 or ACC teams, most likely. However, take a team like Georgia. Say Georgia loses 2 games in the regular season to Texas and Ole Miss. And Texas and Ole Miss both have 1 loss or 0 losses in the SEC, and those are the 2 teams that play in the SEC championship. Okay? So you know that one of those is going to go on to have a first-round bye. The other one, depending on the rest of the standings work out, most likely SEC runner-up, you see them at the 5, 6, 7, or 8, probably the 5 or 6 slot, right? So you've got a team, Georgia, that's sitting there 10-2. The Georgia Bulldogs, their only 2 losses are to 2 of the top probably 5, 6 teams, at least by college football playoff rankings and by seeding. So you could very well see Georgia sitting there in the 5, 6, 7, 8 slot with a home playoff game that gets that chance to gain that momentum, to knock the rust off, and they had that extra week. One of the biggest arguments for the first round bye is the extra week of rest. Okay, what if you miss that SEC championship game? You've got an extra week of rest immediately after the season, when those guys that are playing the championship games have been getting beat up for 13, 14 weeks, even longer if you go back to fall camp. I value that week off right after the season, right after the regular season, more so than I do after there's already been 2 or 3 weeks off if you're a first-round bye team. That's my personal opinion. Dream scenario, like I said, miss out completely on your conference championship game, get a home playoff game, and go from there. So, like I said, that's my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think. What's your dream scenario? Do you think that's even realistic? Do you think a 2-loss team that misses out on their conference title game is even capable of getting that 5 through 8 spot? And then just besides that, just back to the basic question, would you rather have the first round bye or the home playoff game? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and thanks for watching.